Welcome to BFC Live, the daily video and podcast series of Business of Cannabis. BFC Live highlights the companies, brands, people, and trends driving the global cannabis sector. Learn more at businessofcannabis.ca. Coming up, a conversation with professional MMA fighter Elias Theodorou. He has a fight tomorrow night, March 13th. We want to talk to him about that fight and about being a cannabis athlete. Elias, thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
Well, you are on the cusp of a fight, and let's start there. We'll get to the cannabis stuff. We'll get to where we can all see the fight, but talk a little bit about what your fight prep looks like, I guess like a little bit more than 24 hours ahead of time.
Well, now at this point, it's all about the weight cut. That's the first real battle, right? So I walk around about 200-ish pounds, then I get down to 185, and then I put some weight back on when it's all said and done, and kind of come back where I started. So that aspect is a process that I've been dealing with for a couple of weeks now. And again, it's just staying focused and staying disciplined, both in the kitchen and on the mats, right? So now there's a little bit, a lot less work because all the hard work's already been done. So just trying to be as close to 100% as I step in the cage.
Well, I've been trying to get from 200 to 185, but it's been about 20 years. So, so good on you, right? I try to carry it in my beard and my hair. So
that's a glorious beard. That is a glorious beard.
My nickname's not the main event. Yours is, and it's main. You've been on our radar for some time. People who follow, obviously, cannabis and sport know your name. Talk a little about your journey to get there, because I'm sure there are way more athletes that use cannabis, both medically and recreationally, that we don't know about. But you are not shy about it. Obviously, check you out anywhere. It's all about being a cannabis athlete. Talk about it, sort of how that journey, so you could talk about it like that.
Yeah, well, like you mentioned, I've been kind of, unapologetically, upfront about my cannabis use, especially over the last little bit. It's a journey that started later, much like my mixed martial arts career. I didn't start martial arts till about 2021, and my true actual cannabis use as a patient and athlete came much later. It started with a former coach and great friend who was a medical cannabis user for quite some time, and I got to grow and learn with my experience as an outsider watching someone's experience, and the difference in first line medicines and being forced to take that on any of the trips that we would go on for training and whatnot. So having that exposure to cannabis and medical cannabis, it only felt right when the UFC rather partnered with USADA, which was the United States Anti-Doping Agency, for clean sport and testing. But unfortunately, cannabis is considered a prohibited sport. It's looked at just as bad, and in some cases, it's been looked at worse than actual, steroid and other forms of cheating. So going through that process started about 2015, 2016, and it was just talking to my doctor, my family doctor, who understood that my role as both patient and athlete needed medical attention, and we looked towards my actual condition, which is bilateral neuropathy. It's essentially nerve damage of my upper extremities, and he diagnosed that cannabis was best for me, and I was using that. And then obviously the need to now create a paper trail began with USADA and UFC partnering together. That was a bit of an uphill battle, and much because of the fact that USADA is funded by the United States government, which looks at cannabis as a Schedule I drug. There's no medical properties, so I couldn't argue some of the medical and also Canadian rights that I have as both a Canadian athlete and a Canadian patient. So that was a little bit of again, uphill battle. But moving away from the UFC, I was able to, I've said this before, but as a free agent, then become a agent of change for medical cannabis. And I started with applying for the same therapeutic use exemption in British Columbia, which was approved February 2020. And with that precedent, it allows me to use cannabis, more specifically THC and THCA, and again, creates precedent not only for myself, but other athletes in boxing and MMA, both amateur and professional, to do much the same if, again, it warranted for them in their specific medical case. And I couldn't be more happy and more excited to now have it all come fruition and again, be unapologetically about it, because even though, there was this constant, push and take from the whole process. Me being a fighter, someone that's determined to always win, I found a lot of parallels, both again with my own journey and fighting for this, but also just the actual legalization of cannabis and the legalization of mixed martial arts. In many ways, they've both been in the shadows of some form of prohibition. Obviously, cannabis more culturally and more greater meaning of what that could be, but they're very much synced, and I don't know how else to explain it, but it just feels that the relationship kind of are synced in their own right.
Yeah, it's interesting, but so is your ability and willingness to do battle against
Yeah,
whatever the forces are. Like, I mean, that's, I guess, if there's one sort of through line around MMA, it's that, like, it's dogged determination to do what it takes to, like, get your body ready, get your mind ready, get ready to do the actual sort of battling that you do, but also
passing it in.
sort of you're fighting sort of the social construct as well around cannabis. I want to talk specifically about your event this weekend. So there's a
Yep.
fight March 13th, which is Saturday night. And it's interesting how people can watch it. It's interesting sort of who's putting it together, but it also has obviously a really compelling tie-in with cannabis. Talk a little bit about where people can find it and what that means as it relates to cannabis.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you so much. Well, basically, my fight will be this Saturday, March 13th. It'll be airing at 4:20, obviously, Pacific time, and 7:20 Eastern. It's will be on exclusively 19 and 21 plus on Imagine BC. You can go to imaginebcnet.net to download the app and watch me fight, and also a bunch of different content that I'll be providing. Imagine BC is a revolutionary app that is equitable both for content creators like myself, but also viewers like you. And the fight will be $4.20, obviously, and it's going to be real fun to not only create this history, but have the partners that I'm really proud to make this history with. It'll be 19 and 21 plus gated, so it'll have a cannabis friendly feel to it, not only in the educational and advocacy work that I'll be doing on it, but also the partners as mentioned. And I'm really excited to put on a great night of fights. There's not only my fight against Matt Dwyer, who's another former UFC vet, tough game individual, but we also have some other great fights as well. So I'm really excited to put on a great night of fights, and also help spearhead combat sports back into Canada. Our protocols, our process are the first since COVID, and I know that the rest of Canada is looking at what we're doing this Saturday, and couldn't be more proud to be partnered with my partner and co-promoter Saba from Rise, and together putting together Rise Fighting the Stigma this Saturday.
It's amazing. It's like it's so much coming together that is on trend is not the right term, but is about to happen in such a big way, right? Is like you're going to have this community of people who are super interested in watching you, right? Tuning in through the app. They're going to be community of interest because there's going to be a lot of cannabis people tuning in because there's that happening, but also this idea that people can access the exact content they want, when they want it, how they want it, but also be able to share as a viewer and a platform and the sort of the person, right? You actually sharing that the benefit of what's happening. And I think we're seeing more and more of this. We have a conversation coming up with a musician in a couple of weeks that actually is actually quite similar, right? They're looking for their own platforms to do their own content so they can share the benefit and actually create a more direct connection between the audience and you. And like how you can do that is really compelling. The fact that it's cannabis and MMA, like that's amazing too. But the idea of creators and audience being more closely and directly connected is I think great for the audience, but also great for folks like you.
100%, and it's cannabis friendly, so there's none of that shadow banning or any type of restrictions that other platforms have, like Facebook and Instagram. So really excited about that, and there's gonna be tons of giveaways. Like I'll be having a lot of great partners that, again, all the viewers are gonna whatever like the obviously there's a tie-in with the 420. It's 420 a month on imaginebc.net, and I can guarantee you're probably gonna get more than $4.20 of just giveaways, free stuff, and awesome, like, members only kind of thing. So I'm really excited to, like, honestly just have a good time and create some cool content.
Well, I'm downloading it as we speak. And so I'll see you on Saturday night. Elias, I really want to, good luck this weekend. Thank you for doing what you're doing. Thank you for wearing a shirt. I mean, it sounds so basic, but that says cannabis athlete. I think that actually, you're doing so much more, but when people see that, it actually immediately clicks and sort of it drives down the stigma almost immediately, because they see you and then they see you working out and then they see you kicking ass, and all those things are, great to see together, and we look forward to seeing it on Saturday night. So thank you for your time now. We look forward to seeing you on Saturday.
My pleasure. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for joining us on B of C Live today. We're able to do what we do thanks to our ongoing partners, including Cannabis at Work, Cannabis Benchmarks, Can Delta, Headset, Gallagher, and Torque and Main.